Hello, this is Real World Audio, and today I'm continuing with vital advice on how to choose audio components, how to balance your system and match parts. And this is continuing up upon this video. So this is my channel's videos, and if we go to this video, the title is Might Be a Shocker, Audio Properties Come in Twin Pairs of Opposition. And I would say that if you have not seen this video, then pause right now and watch this before continuing to this video, because what I'm telling now builds on this one and you need to watch it before. And many have noted that what I'm saying here is the best advice ever that they heard for their audio journey. And this is a really basic advice. So even if you are not an engineer or you don't want to tweak or nothing, you just want to listen to music, this will be something that will be super helpful for you. So building up on that, there are balanced versus unbalanced properties when, for example, resolution and tonality are imbalanced. So a system can deliver both resolution and tonality versus a system that has compromised tonality but excellent resolution, or very nice tone but very poor resolution. And to me, this is a much more complex issue, and it's one of the reasons why I went into modifying audio gear and doing things on my own, because to me, how I look at every single audio component you can buy, they are either unfinished or they are eroded. What does that mean? Unfinished means that when a company releases a product, they have deadlines for the release, which means that a certain product, let's say a DAC or a loudspeaker, it's in a design phase, and the time when it gets to the market is not when the design is ready and the engineer who created it says that, okay, now this is what I wanted, but they go on the market when their wallet says that it needs to go on the market because we have the production deadline. And that's one of the reasons why the companies are coming up constantly with newer and newer products, because the newer product that really represents the next stage in the development of that original product, which was basically always prematurely thrown into the market because the company has to do that, has no other choice if it wants to survive. Yet, as time goes by, they continuously work on their newer and newer products, and it becomes newer and newer. Of course, now we have this mania about newer is better, which is absolutely not true. More a product which had more attention during its making becomes better. That's correct. But just haphazardly looking for newer technology or a new direction, it will not give you a fully cooked, ready product. If you just throw away an old technology that you used in product X and for the new one you are using a new technology, it will be still a fledgling product without development, without refinement, because you are just getting to know that new technology. And this is one of the big crucial problems in audio industry, that there are newer and newer technologies coming up, and the manufacturers are jumping on the new bandwagon because they have to, because that's how marketing works. Is people want to buy the newest, the latest, and they don't care about something that came out like 10 years ago. They don't want to see it because everyone is conditioned to believe that newer is better. But that also means that the about 99% of the products out there are constantly in the baby phase of product development. They cannot mature, and that's why I treat every audio component that I buy as an unfinished product. Of course, there are some exceptions, and usually people tend to talk about these as some sorts of legends, and people think that why that's like totally BS, or why would be like a something like a Kondo amplifier or a Shindo or Yamamoto or something like that. Why is it more than the latest Class D whatnot, and why is it so much more expensive? It's so much more expensive because decades of development went into those amplifiers, those products, and there was it's something that's truly matured. Uh, it the designer, the engineer has been listening to it. The person is known to have excellent hearing, to have appreciation for music, a passion in it, and he's not just clocking 8 hours in the factory. That makes a tremendous difference. But it doesn't mean that the good high quality audio is just, or I would say that high level of music connectivity, where music is given to you as music and not just as a bunch of a heap of resolution or a heap of frequencies or details. But in these cases, um, you can also arrive to these results, that you can take whatever product that you like, that you love, it's how it presents music, and you can get on and start modifying and adapting it, or maybe adapting other parts of your audio chain to match that part better. And actually this is how my mentor, how Stu, thought, and what he did is that he had an audio store, but everything he sold, he took everything apart, he deconstructed everything, and he modified, tweaked, and changed every single item he sold. So if you bought a Conrad Johnson amplifier from him, then or anything else, they were all modified. He did not sell any stock items. The only exceptions being when he was close to his death, and then he did not have the eyesight and the energy to do this, then you could have bought some stock items from him. But when he was younger, that means a couple years away from his death, then every single thing he sold was modified. And that's because everything needs the finishing touch to really bring it to that level where the engineer would have brought it if he had more time to bring it out. And the other side of the spectrum, so this was the production side when you are buying new equipment, and that's why it's unfinished, like this the statue of the lion here. You really have to finish up the carving to chisel out all the features to make it a finished statue. And the other aspect of the audio gear is vintage audio gear, older gear. They also look like this, even if you find something that was a fully made product, such as let's say a condo amp from, let's say, from the 70s or 80s, then they are like this. So if you just turn it on and you compare it to something modern, you would be comparing this to something modern. And it's because they become eroded. During decades and decades, the capacitors degrade, solder joints degrade, wires corrode, and they need maintenance. And there's also that thing that when you have, as time has progressed, newer and newer technologies came out. And today we have vastly better capacitor technology than we had a couple of decades ago. And of course, every other part of the technologies improved to an amazing degree. Especially phono cartridges went through an astounding transformation. Also, transformer technology has improved a lot, especially in the low-level retrieval capacity. Resistor technology has also improved. And basically, if you want to hear vintage amplifiers at their potential, you have to rebuild them with parts that represent today's quality. And that's why, for example, I have my Ampex amplifiers, and I have rebuilt them with today's capacitors, resistors, and solder, and they are astounding. They look like Frankenstein amplifiers because they were designed as rack mount amps and never as a display amplifier. And you see them in my videos, and it's totally like steampunk Frankenstein, but the sound that they make is like a truly very, very high level. And that is because the amplifiers needed to be finished, needed to be completed, because their parts which were old, which were aged, they need replacement. So that's why it doesn't matter whether you are getting the latest product or you are looking for something vintage, you have to finish it to perform to its fullest. And the difference between the finished and the unfinished is literally night and day. And often, let's see, one more thing that I want to add to this video, I don't want to make it super long, is that this should be a huge warning sign for everyone. And when you are looking for a balanced component, the first thing that you need to be aware of is that your entire system has to be balanced to have a balanced quality to it. And this means basically from recording to your room. And I'm mentioning here recording because recordings are done in such extremely different manners. So for example, if you have classical recordings or modern electronica, they are mostly recorded, at least the ones I know. For classical, it means like pretty much all over board. I am pretty well versed in classical recordings. Electronica, as I get to know, I don't really know bad shit about it, although I love to listen to various stuff. But I have found with it that the EQ for that, if you have a classical music EQ, that will work for that as well. But pop music and rock, they are really all over the board, and you can have like 10, 20 dB EQ on the high frequency and low frequencies. So that's why you need to treat everything together and be aware of this. So it means that if you listen to 80s music and let's say jazz, those require totally different systems. One system will not do both. Let me just reiterate it again. One system cannot play Madonna's Like a Virgin and cannot play Jazz at the Pawn Shop together. Either or. A choice is if you have EQ that you can use, but EQ can take away a lot of the sound quality when it's applied at the preamp level. That's why most of the audiophile products do not have EQ, because it's a vast it can be a vast decline to the overall sound quality and experience. However, I will show you what you can do. So if you do it at the loudspeaker level, or if you have a phono stage, you do it at the RIA EQ level, then you can do it. If you have digital, if you do the EQ at the digital level, that might be a good idea, although I have not had experience with that, but there are people who reported that it works really well. So my big warning is that your whole system has to be balanced, and usually that's not the case, because every single component in the system has a skewed balance. But it's not a problem if the entire chain is balanced. So basically, one component's weaknesses and one component's strength, they match each other out. So for example, one component overdoes frequency extension compared to the mid-range, and then you have another component that does better mid-range than frequency extension. These two will balance each other out, and you will have a more balanced sound for the frequency range. And if you just take away that second component, which overemphasizes mid-range over the frequency extensions, and you insert a perfectly balanced component there, then your system will be still skewed, because you will hear what that other component does. So that's why I will have my next video, which I will list brands and products with whether they have balanced or unbalanced properties of twin audio pairs. But that doesn't mean if you put that in your system becomes balanced or not. It means that you will start to hear what your other components are doing. And however, do not despair, because it means that when you will choose a component like that and you hear that the balance shifted towards somewhere, it means that whatever else you have in your system is doing that shift. So you can work on identifying which product, which element is responsible for that, and if you do not like that, you want to rectify it, you can change that. And this is how you can go on and build your system with using a method, using and having a purpose and a clear vision where you want to develop it, versus the totally random changes that you would do if you would go just after listening to reviews. So thank you everyone for tuning in. This is a sneak preview from the next part. Please like, subscribe, tell your friends. Have an awesome day. Bye bye.